Welcome everybody, Nadim Naser, Master OTI Instructor here. I would like to talk to you about a very important topic regarding the footwork. And my colleague Greg Naser and I, as you may know, we travel the world these days for our clinics. And there's something that we notice pretty much every single clinic other than the surf clinic when it comes to footwork. And it's just basically knowing which foot should lead on a ball that is not pulling you wide or pulling you back significantly. Which foot moves and why, so that we stay in balance and can execute our shots. And that's what I wanted to get into this topic with you guys. Is our colleague Ian Meyer, in my opinion, one of the very best out there, especially when it comes to footwork, has introduced me personally to this, since when I played I don't really know what my feet are doing, but as I started instructing I became very much more aware of it. Here's what I would like for you all to pay attention to when you are working on your ground strokes, okay? So let's assume you're standing in the middle of the court and you're just rallying back and forth with a friend, okay? And you're worried about not being able to stay on balance when you execute your forehand or your backhand. And again, let me repeat, we're not talking about a ball that's pulling you wide or significantly far back. So what you always want to think about doing after you get into from your split step, okay? Split step and then think of outside leg first. So for me as a righty, when I want to hit a forehand, it looks like this. Split step, outside leg first, and that is pretty much coupled with a small little half turn. They go hand in hand for preparation purposes. One more time, split step, step out. And when I have that step out, my balance, as you can see, is still centered, and I have pretty much done everything I need to do from an upper body perspective. Unfortunately, a lot of players don't even split step, or let's say they do split step, but then the first step that happens is the inside leg crosses over. And that throws off balance, that throws off the perception of the proper spacing to the ball and so much more. But just to say the least, it messes you up as a player. And when we work with our players during clinics and private sessions, we see it every single time. So what I'd like you to work on, go home and record yourself and see what you do, just out from a subconscious state of mind, not knowing what it is that you're doing, but recording yourself, and then going out and doing the very simple exercise of simply going split step, step out. And it's not just a glide, it's not just a pivot, it's truly a split step, step out, to get used to using the outside leg first. On the backhand side, it's the same thing, split step, step out. And I have a semi-turn with it on top. So you can almost think, my colleague Greg always says, pretend as if you have a rope connected between your wrist and your outside leg. So when you step out, you have a half turn and that outside leg moved for the backhand. Split step, step out, same thing over here on the forehand side. And then as the ball is going a few feet away from you, you simply try to maintain that base of yours, okay? So in other words, what am I talking about? I'm going to demonstrate for the forehand side. You split step, step out, and let's say the ball is a few feet away from you and you maintain your base as good as you can and you set yourself up one more time. So split step, step out. You see, I maintained that outside leg on the outside and I'm pretty much able to hit anything about 3/4 on that forehand side, starting from the middle here. Let's do that one more time. Split step, step out, step out. And then it's up to me. I would then go into a neutral stance still and have plenty of time. Hypothetically speaking, I can stay on that outside leg as well, but the goal is to make sure that the spacing to the incoming ball is correct. So that outside leg does two things. A, it maintains your balance, and B, if it's the closest part to the incoming ball, you're not going to be able to swing outside in as much and get jammed as often, okay? And that's what we see players do a lot when they start working with us, and over the course of the clinics we really make sure that we work with them on maintaining that correct space.
Let me demonstrate to you a level of progression where I work on this outside leg the same way I would like for you to include it in your practices as well. It's a very important concept, and here I'm self-feeding me the forehand. You can also do it for the backhand, of course, and this concept applies to regardless which stance you end up going into, whether it's a neutral stance, open stance, or semi-open stance. I will demonstrate here in a neutral stance, and in the next clip a quick demonstration of how to use it on an open stance. So here we go. Split step, step out an early unit turn, and it's a half turn with that, so they pretty much go together right here. my semi-turn and the open leg goes, the outside leg goes first, which means that the weight is on the inside leg so that I can free up the outside leg to get open here, okay? Then I self-feed the ball away from me, and you will see how I maintain my base, okay? The base is being maintained, meaning that the left leg is not crossing over in front of or behind the right leg, meaning the outside leg is still always leading. And you can see here, this could be a position where I now either hit with this particular open stance, or since the ball isn't really pulling me wide or significantly back, I can get and have enough time to go into my neutral stance, which is exactly what I do here. So you can see that my outside leg is now the closest part of my body aside from my left arm to that ball, which means my body itself is not quote unquote too close to the ball, meaning I would have to make upper body adjustments to hit that shot. And I can still get into my neutral stance. You can demonstrate it right here, illustrated with my feet being in front of one another on one line. And now I can still swing inside out and away from my body to contact and execute a relatively straightforward forehand. Let me show you that one more time. Split step, step out, feed the ball away, and then get into a nice neutral stance, always leading with the outside leg. Okay, and now let me show you this last one here, one time in roll speed. Next up is the open stance demonstration. Again, this is for demonstration purposes to show you this open stance. Similar to the previous clip, the outside leg begins moving first, okay? And in this particular clip, you'll see me take several steps that maintain the base, meaning the outside leg truly remains the outside leg at any point in time, okay? And the inside leg remains the inside leg at any point in time. Now, yes, of course, I could go into a neutral stance here because the ball isn't pulling me wide, nor is it pushing me back. It's an easy hand-fed ball. If the ball was this deep on the court, when it comes from the other side of the net, then it would be most likely a semi-open stance, and I would make contact significantly further behind the baseline. Again, for demonstration purposes, the outside leg leads and is the closest part of my body alongside my non-dominant arm to the tennis ball that bounces right to the outside of my outside leg. And that gives me proper spacing so that my body is not too close, as we all say. And that's when the mistakes happen, because the upper body will have to make adjustments due to the lack of spacing. So here you will see the outside leg becoming a transition as well as a loading and lifting leg. So it does everything that in the previous clip the inside leg helped out with by going into the neutral stance. Okay, so the outside leg is the closest part of my body aside from my non-dominant arm, which directly, due to its stretch out here, gives me significant space to the ball. And from here on out, I can execute a regular forehand one more time, okay? So keep in mind that regardless of which stance you're trying to accomplish, the outside leg should lead for spacing purposes so that you can execute any forehand you plan on executing, as well as on the backhand, as well as while you're being pulled wide or pushed back or just simply coming into the net. It's all the same. The outside leg goes first. Let me show you one more time in roll speed here.
So as you saw in these couple of demonstrations, it doesn't really matter what foot you end up stepping with at the end, whether you're in an open stance or a neutral stance, a semi-open stance. It doesn't really matter. That shouldn't be the focus. The focus here is that if the ball is within your grasp, and I would say about 2/3 from the center of the baseline to the singles line, if you can cover 2/3 of that space with 2 rhythm steps, that should pretty much be your guiding realm, so to speak, okay? Anything that goes beyond that, you will indeed have to cross over, because the main goal isn't balance and space. The main goal is getting there. In order to get there, I need to get there faster. If I have rhythm steps and I rhythm step all the way out, that ball will be long gone by the time I make it to where it should be. So keep that in mind when you're working on this. It's very important to understand what this is used for, what these rhythm steps, the step out, this outside leg type of lead situation when it applies, and it applies when you're not being pulled and under stress having to run in any direction other than being in your comfort zone. So that is very important to understand, and this holds true for the forehand side as well as the backhand side. And I want you to make use of these exercises so that you can hopefully gain A, more balance on your ground strokes, and B, maintain better space to the contact point itself. If you like this video, please do us a favor and hit the like button, subscribe to our channel and leave your comments, share with your friends. Let us know if this exercise is one that helps you with your game so we can have a nice discussion about it. And I will welcome you to the next video again next time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.